We're going to go ahead and call to order the Sacramento Transportation Authority for June 18th, 2026. Will you please call the roll?
Directors Boulahan.
Here.
Desmond. Dickinson.
Here.
Guerra. Hume. Kennedy.
Here.
Maple. Here. Middleton. Pulapati. Rodriguez. Here. Cerna.
Here.
Singh Allen. Spies.
Present.
Talamontes. Here. Vang. And Chair Rathel.
Here.
And you do have a quorum.
If you'll please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you'll please make the announcements.
This meeting of the Sacramento Transportation Authority is live and recorded with closed captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV U-verse cable systems. It is also live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Sunday, June 21st at 2 p.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/Metro Cable 14. To make an in-person public comment, please complete a speaker request form and hand it to the clerk. The chairperson will call your name when it's your turn to make a comment. You may send written comment by email to boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record.
Thank you. And that takes us to the comment items. Do we have any comments from the public today?
No public comments.
All right, that takes us to consent items. Looking at the board, anyone who wants to pull any consent items?
Hello. Thanks. Thanks, Chair. I have some questions about item 5.
All right, item number 5.
Item 5 is adopt a strategy for Measure A Smart Growth Funds.
Kevin, what you said, page 2, that you evaluated several potential strategies. Can you tell us what those strategies were?
Yeah, I think so. We have these, just for the rest of the board here, we have funds called Smart Growth Funds that are discretionary funds that we have to award on a competitive basis. Historically, we have not awarded those projects through STA. We've actually leveraged SACOG's funding round, a program called Community Design, and we said essentially if you were able to be successful in getting those community design funds, then Measure A would provide the local match under the Smart Growth Funds. And because that program was pretty small, we could easily make that statement, right? Since that time, the community design program no longer exists, and there's a much larger pot of money, so it makes it a little bit harder for us. So what's proposed here is there's a variety of smart growth related projects that each agency is taking on, and utilizing sort of a formulaic approach similar to what we already do for local partnership program and STIP funds. We're going to provide each agency with a set aside of funds to apply for these smart growth projects to utilize for these. And so we reached out to all agencies and said, hey, utilizing that approach, what would you propose? They provide a list of projects. We've included that list of projects here. So we looked at this, that's essentially what we're proposing here. Now, some other things that we looked at, to get back to the question, specifically, we looked at doing a much longer multi-cycle kind of an approach, right? This is only for 3 years of funding. What if we did it for 6 years of funding? We looked at combining it with our local partnership program formulaic funds, so that would be even a larger pot of money. But I think, due to just from a simplicity standpoint, we really felt like this made the most sense. We had a meeting with our ITAC on it. They sort of agreed. We will come back on a local partnership program formulaic approach. We are looking at maybe taking a multi-cycle approach for that one, which is more thoughtful and longer term, just to ensure that people have enough funding to really deliver their projects.
Okay, thanks. Did you consider holding this essentially as a pot that people could come to with projects regardless of jurisdiction, and in essence be, I suppose, first come, first serve, but would be focused on the smart growth related projects, and if one jurisdiction was much more aggressive than another, they would not be bound by what essentially is an arbitrary allocation?
Yeah, so I think it's probably pretty similar to at least some degree, what we did in the prior cycles with community design. And so what you had in that instance was, an example would be like Citrus Heights did really well because they had a lot of complete streets projects that competed really well at the SACOG funding round. So they got a much larger portion of the funds than is typical. I'm sure other agencies did well as also, but it potentially creates this revolving pot of funds, if you will. It does sort of create some uncertainty over time, right? You don't know how much money you can get out of that. You only get it if you're competitive. You cannot plan for it. And there's also that, kind of geographic fairness kind of component of it, right? In ensuring you're getting your fair share of those funds. That was a concern.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you indicate that 22.5% was allocated to transit, the balance to other jurisdictions. Why apparently a different split than the Measure A split?
So the 22.5% is consistent with what we use for local partnership program and STIP funding through our MOU. It's a number that we've sort of gone back and forth on and agreed to over multiple years. That's really why we have it. If you look at SACOG's funding rounds themselves, they are, and it is a kind of another data point, especially on the STIP side, that number pretty much matches up with the STIP funding. Uh-huh. So, and typically we like to get consensus from the public agency staff on these types of things. And so if we were to go and try to adjust that percentage up or down, there'd be a lot of discussion about what is right, what is wrong, and out back and forth on that. So just since it's an easily acceptable percentage that we've been using in the past, it was to continue to propose that worked really well as far as getting this out quickly.
Okay. I understand what you said. I don't understand why transit should do worse under these kind of categories than it does in the Measure A split, notwithstanding what any other agency does. A third goes to transit. I don't understand. I understand your answer, but I don't understand why a third doesn't go to transit, as would be a Measure A split if it was just money coming in sales tax revenue to STA to be distributed out to the jurisdiction. So that's not a question. That's my point of view on this. And if Citrus Heights did really well in the last time because they were aggressive about having good projects to submit, good for them. It really incentivizes jurisdictions to come up with good projects to apply for to get the money. In my opinion, it advances those interests, which is what we want to do, and it makes sure we use the money, that we don't have an allocation to a jurisdiction that either isn't so interested or doesn't have a project that would qualify. So, with that, I don't support this approach. So you can leave it on the consent calendar if everyone else is comfortable with that, and I'll just register a no vote on this item. Otherwise, I'm fine with the consent calendar.
Well, take it separately because that's going to prevent that item from being
on the
approved.
electronic voting?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Do we have any questions from the public on any of the consent items?
We do not.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll entertain a motion on the rest of the consent items, absent 5.
Second.
All right, please call the roll, or electronic voting? Yeah, even better.
And the motion passes for the consent calendar other than item 5.
Thank you so much. And do I have any requests to speak on item number 5?
No, you do not.
All right, we can go ahead. Oh, Director Bewsey.
Yeah, I think just for the clarity, so the way this funding works is, we have 22.5% that's set aside specifically for transit. The other 77.5% goes to cities and counties. Cities and counties are free to use that funding for their priority projects, whether that's transit, roadway, active transportation, right? That's really at their discretion. I would caution you regarding this vote because, we do have, these are funds that are going to be used for match on grants that these agencies are actively pursuing. And so if we do delay a vote, how does that impact applications that will be due in July to SACOG's funding round? I think we also have, and from SAC-RT's standpoint, they have a Sustainable Transportation Blending Grant that they'll find out in July on. I get the concern for sure. I just want to flag that is a risk for this particular item.
And I believe I saw in there that every jurisdiction had a project that we felt would qualify.
Pretty much every agency I think we have 2 exceptions there because their dollar amounts are smaller, so they're looking at weighting.
Okay. Any other comments? All right. We'll go ahead and vote on item number 5.
No, there's not.
Oh, sorry.
No, we need a motion in a second.
We'll entertain a motion.
I'll move a motion for approval. I'll move the item for approval.
Second.
And now we will vote.
And that motion fails.
All right. Well, we will, I can entertain another motion.
Wait, no, that motion. How did that motion fail?
We need a motion to reconsider first. Jesus Christ. You could do a motion
All
to
right.
reconsider, otherwise the money's still there. And I think in 2 months we come back, right? And staff can propose a different allocation for the smart growth funds.
I move to reconsider.
It's got to be someone in the, it has to be one of the, on the prevailing party. So who's the prevailing party?
Oh, so it's you.
Well, okay, there is no prevailing party.
No, I would, but go ahead. Whatever you say, counsel.
If you can get 9 to approve a vote to reconsider and explain, the reasons why you want to reconsider, then yes, go ahead and you can discuss it again, a different allocation. But it's two votes. Right? It's the vote to reconsider and then another vote on a
And
different.
I'd like to reconsider by virtue of the fact that the body makeup has changed since the last vote, and I don't want to put these funds in jeopardy for the reasons that Director Bewsey stated.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and vote.
Okay, and if I could get Director Guerra to log in.
Start. Okay, there we go. Yes.
And that motion passes.
You can vote aye on this.
All right. Director Bewsey, do you want to bring Director Guerra up to speed? Oh, and so we can. Okay.
I'll entertain a motion.
We have a motion to reconsider. Now we need another motion.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
And I'll second.
Well, we're just looking at
Just
item
item number
5.
five.
Oh, just item 5. Okay, then, okay.
Well,
Well, okay, just so Director Guerra, as long as he is up to speed on what the prior discussion was, somebody
This is on the smart
want to
growth funds?
summarize for
Smart
the
growth funds,
director?
yes.
yeah.
Okay, if you feel like you're sufficiently up to speed on,
I'm sufficiently up to speed on the information. I watched it outside as I was walking in, and you guys voted before I opened the door. So.
All right.
okay, so another
To
motion.
approve item number 5.
Second.
All right, we'll go ahead and vote.
There we go.
And that motion passes.
All right, that concludes our consent calendar, and we'll move on to separate items. Please call the next item.
Item number 8 is adopt Sacramento Transportation Authority final budget for fiscal year 2026-27.
All right. Hello, Chair and Board of Directors. I'm Dustin Purinton, the CFO with Sacramento Transportation Authority, and I'm presenting just a verbal presentation about the 2027 budget. So there have been no material changes to the budget since we saw it in May. As noted in the May meeting, the budget is balanced because we have sufficient revenue and fund balance to carry the appropriations. And staff will continue to monitor and report any significant changes over the budget year. We'll bring back budgetary amendments and budget to actual quarterly reporting. And this budget reflects both fiscal prudence and strategic investment in public engagement and education and all of the transportation priorities that STA has. Does anyone have any questions?
Director Cerna?
Mr. Chair, if there's no public speakers on this matter, I'd move the item.
I'll second.
There are no public speakers.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
That motion passes unanimously.
Please call the next item.
Oh, sorry. Item 9 is receive a presentation from the Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee and approve the Measure A Performance Compliance Audit Report for July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2025, and management letter.
We better get your rest for next week.
Nope. All right. As the clerk mentioned, we're here to present on the Measure A Performance and Compliance Audit for the 2-year period ending June 30th, 2025. And I'm joined here with Jose Luis Caceres, the Director of Programming Project Delivery for StanCog and our ITALK voting member.
Mine too.
So to start off, just a couple of the key objectives of this audit. Why are we doing it? So the Measure A and the ordinance are a promise to voters to make sure that things that are in the ordinance are carried out. So this audit helps us to prove that we have been going in that direction and keeping those promises. So this also gives us an opportunity to maintain oversight and have some continuous improvement in our operations and the things that we do. We're constantly kind of asking the auditors for what are best practices, what can we do differently. It's also increased our accountability and transparency to the public, building the public trust that we're trying to foster. So in this Measure A ordinance requirement, and the last time that this was done was earlier last year. We had a 5-year performance audit with the period ending June 30th, 2023. So this is a 2-year audit. The last one was a 5-year audit. So, and I'm going to hand this over to Jose Luis to present on the ITALK.
Greetings. Yes, I'm one of the members of the Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee. We're tasked with oversight. Our mission is that the voters, when they pass this measure, were given promises on how their funds would be spent, and we're tasked with making sure that those promises are kept. We have to review the audits that are performed. We make sure that the funds are going as planned. I think I'll go to the next slide, please. So who's on the Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee? There are 6 of us, 3 voting members and 3 ex officio. It's required through the ordinance that those 3 voting members, one be a planner or engineer, one is appointed, appointed by the county auditor and someone who knows finance. I'm sorry, I just messed that up. Someone who is a finance professional and someone who's been a construction manager. And then of the 3 ex officio, these are 2 are appointees. One's appointed by the board here of STA. Another is appointed by the county auditor. And the third is Kevin Bewsey, the executive director of STA. We meet about every 2 months. And what I can tell you is, the next slide, please, that we are not, may I? Yeah. Well, I'll just say we did not find any significant findings. The controls are operating as intended. I'm going to pass this off to Dustin to go over it in more detail, but I'll be here for questions.
All right, thank you. So moving on, the key areas of testing, I just wanted to highlight the areas that the auditors focused on. All of these key testing areas were approved by the ITALK and the board before this audit started. So to start off, the revenue distributions, as you know, we get sales tax and impact fee dollars that flow into the program. That's ensuring that the revenue's being distributed appropriately to the ordinance. Capital program distributions, they're checking over contracts and appropriate eligible expenditures for the jurisdiction levels. The ongoing program, we did note some exceptions, and I'm going to talk about those in the next couple of slides here. That's the direct pass-through dollars that go to jurisdictions, SAC-RT, paratransit, the air board. And 4th item here is the internal controls. So the auditors are looking at how the agencies are handling the funds internally, making sure that there are proper internal controls in place so funds are spent appropriately and handled appropriately. Fifth item is ITOC compliance. So as Jose Luis mentioned, there are ordinance requirements for the makeup of the ITOC, and they do look at that and how they're voted in and terms and whatnot. Developer impact fees, the sixth item here. So the calculation of the impact fee and use of those funds. Administrative costs, we are limited to a 0.75% cap on spending for the administrative costs. And maintenance of effort and compliance, we're going to talk about that on a future slide, but we did test that item as well. So first area of an exception really is the city of Ileton was not able to provide us any support for testing. As most of you are probably aware, the city of Ileton did have a full turnover at administrative staff over the last year and a half or so. We have been working with the current consultants that are in place and talking to them regularly about when we can expect new reporting. So we're going to have quarterly updates with them until they're able to produce reporting. Once we do get that, we are going to audit them back to the last period that we were able to review their records. So very likely it's going to be all the way back to 6/30/2023 is when we're going to audit them too. If they're not able to provide records within the next year, before June 30th, 2027, we're going to start escrowing their ongoing funding. And escrow just means we're going to set it aside, maintain it in an interest-bearing account until they're able to come into compliance. So the next items here are the cities of Folsom and Sacramento. We had reporting mismatches between the underlying records of the city and what STA had on our side. So just, I don't want to use any jargon, but reconcile, match, reconcile. Their records didn't match what was reported to us. We were able to calculate it out with them after the fact, but it's still an internal control finding because we found it to begin with. We will follow up with them and they will be audited in the next audit period to determine if they're back into compliance. Next slide here, I want to describe maintenance of effort a little bit more because it is a little bit of a nebulous, complicated topic. So the maintenance of effort for STA's ordinance was set at inception. We had a 5-year look-back period which looked at how much local funding or the jurisdiction spending for transportation. It was set at that point. That created our inception baseline, which in terms of this chart, it's the bottommost portion. This chart's just made up for discussion purposes. So the inception baseline is where everyone was at that calculated point in time. And compliance with maintenance of effort is meeting or exceeding that every year after that. So we didn't have anyone that fell outside of the maintenance of effort compliance requirements. Everyone was in compliance. And I just wanted to show this in a chart to explain the baseline set and where non-compliance would be and where compliance is. So we want to make sure that funding supplements existing transportation dollars, not replace transportation dollars. So, and with that, I'm open to any questions. And we do have the auditors on the line too, if anyone has any questions for the auditors. So.
I have not seen any questions. And no public comment?
No public comment.
All right. I can entertain a motion.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve.
And that motion passes unanimously with those members present.
Please call the next item.
Item 10 is authorize actions related to the Interstate 5 Managed Lanes project, including execution of a memorandum of understanding with the Capital Area Regional Tolling Authority, amendment of the Measure A capital allocation and expenditure contract with Caltrans, fiscal year 2026-27 budget amendment, execution of a consultant services contract, and the submittal of federal and state grant nominations.
Wonderful, thank you. So item 10 is really about advancing the I-5 Managed Lanes project. I'm Kevin Bewsey, I'm your executive director. We have in the audience staff from Caltrans, SACOG, CARTA, all involved in this project, should there be any detailed questions. And really this item is about measuring, using our Measure A funds to leverage those to essentially get additional funding at the federal and state level. Let's talk a little bit about sort of the Measure A vision and the expenditure plan. So the plan with the Measure A was to build a regional bus and carpool lane network. And we have specific funding set aside only for the regional bus carpool lanes within our Measure A expenditure plan. And in addition, the expenditure plan wanted us to leverage federal and state grant funds on this particular program. We've had a lot of success in actually building out our managed lane network or bus and carpool lane network. There are 4 projects in our expenditure plan. 3 of those are constructed. This would be the last one. So on Interstate 80, this is in chronological order. The very first project was I-80, where we added bus and carpool lanes on I-80 between I-5 and Capital City Freeway. Recently, fairly recently, on I-5 between Elk Grove and downtown, we added bus and carpool lanes. And then the last project that's, I would say, substantially complete is US 50 from Sunrise Boulevard to downtown. And then that leaves the last remaining project listed in our expenditure plan as the I-5 bus and carpool lanes from downtown to I-80. Essentially, this is the project here, is the I-5 Managed Lanes project. This is a project Caltrans has been leading. Begins, obviously, downtown Sacramento at 80 and goes all the way up to the airport, right at the Sacramento-Yolo County line. You can see that this particular facility has a lot of congestion, especially in the morning hour, and is in need of a lot of assistance or help. And this is interstate, obviously, right? It's an interstate facility, meaning it goes through multiple states and has a lot of freight traffic as well. So the locally preferred alternative for this is a hot 3+ lane. We'll go into a little more detail on that, but it essentially is a bus and carpool lane for 3 or more occupants. So essentially, if you are you're carpooling or in a bus, it is free for your use, right? There's no issues with you. Now, the hot or the T component, the tolling component is if you would like to use that lane and pay for it, you have that option. So if you're driving with yourself or with one other person, you can go ahead and pay to use that lane. That's at your option. But it does satisfy our Measure A expenditure plan, meaning we are building the bus and carpool lanes that we told the voters we would build. The existing lanes remain free. There's no cost to those. This option sort of supports shared travel because obviously you can move a lot of people if they're sharing a car, right, or sharing or riding in a bus, and it really helps. And then this project, it'll improve bus operations and the carpool lane use, obviously, but it'll also improve people in the other lanes who are not paying at all. It'll actually improve their travel as well. So it actually provides benefit to everyone in those lanes. And so why high occupancy toll lanes? I want to talk a little bit about this. Those really prioritize shared trips, right, over a general purpose lane or a regular lane. SACOG has a regional plan called the Blueprint. It identifies these managed lanes within that plan. These bus and carpool lanes are in our expenditure plan, so it aligns with Measure A. And, a general purpose lane or even HOV lane is actually fairly hard to fund right now for federal and state grants. And so a actual HOT lane actually makes us more competitive for federal and state grants. There's a lot of people involved in this project, so I just want to clarify some of that. So from an agency role standpoint, Caltrans is the CEQA lead. They are developing that project. They're doing the environmental design. They'll be implementing the construction phase of that project. SACOG is involved because of their regional planning aspect, and Caltrans has received funding from SACOG through their competitive funding round for this project. And then finally, CARTA, which is a new agency, which we have one of our board members that sits on, will actually operate the toll function of this. We have actually a couple of members of our board on CARTA, but will function as essentially operating that toll facility, right? They're responsible for the tolling component of it. And SDA obviously is a funding partner. And so it takes a lot of effort to move these projects forward. And so this next slide is really about grant readiness and schedule, right? There's a lot of things that have to happen to ensure that you can actually get grants awarded. So one of those is making sure that, all the partners are in agreement. So you've got SACOG, CARTA, Caltrans, STA, we all need to be going in the same direction. And we spent a lot of time working through different alternatives and options to get to a point where in about spring of this year, we all felt very comfortable moving forward with this particular alternative. And then once you have that alignment, you want to make sure that you have your environmental completed and your tolling completed so that you can get grants, right? That really shows the agencies that you're ready to receive the grants and can move forward on a project. So the environmental clearance phase anticipated to be completed in spring of 27, the tolling authority around the same time frame, and then grants would be awarded in the summer of 27 if we were successful. But really to get those grants awarded, we need to have those earlier steps done. So the approach for this is we have about $880,000 that's needed to fund the tolling authority work that CARTA would do, specifically asking for tolling authority from the California Transportation Commission, as well as doing any required studies, whether that's a traffic and revenue study work that they have to do or reviewing any of Caltrans's work, right? And in addition, I'll add to that CARTA had offered to loan us the funds to do that work, and we'd have to pay it back, but we saw that as there was a financing cost of that of several $100,000 that we wanted to avoid, so we advanced these dollars to make this work happen. There is an additional $400,000 for the I-5 grant application. So we are funding grant applications for the next 3 years for this project. At the federal and state level. And these grants take a lot of effort because they want a lot of information on what your outcomes are, what is your benefit cost analysis, all those things. All this work will position us for grants, to get grants awarded, and all uses Caltrans's share of the Measure A CIP funds. So this action today would advance the tolling authority work. Essentially, we would put an agreement between CARTA and SDA and MOU to ask them to apply for tolling authority and fund the required studies to allow them to do that. It would authorize us to submit grants, and it would fund the actual grant application work itself. And with that really ends my presentation. I'm open to any questions.
Director Talamantes.
I do not have any questions, more of comments to my colleagues. I sit as a non-voting member of CARTA for STA alongside Supervisor Kennedy, who's the representative for SACOG. I have a year and a half now on this board, and I have learned so much about the process, about variable pricing. So it's not going to be like, you're not going to get charged by like, oh, you get on J Street, you get off Richards. It's going to be like by the miles, not segment pricing. So I've learned about how we're going to do pricing, what kind of boulders we're going to put in, what kind of back-end system we're going to use, what the equity study looks like. We hired a new director, Kathleen Aziz, who's going to be taking over next month. So I'm really excited for her. She just had a baby and is coming back into a brand new job, but she's been so great at explaining engineering things into human form where we can understand it, then eventually be able to relay it to our constituency and our voters who are probably going to be upset about this once it comes into fruition. One of the media outlets did write about this project, and a lot of the comments that I read online were, we pay for these roads, so why do we have to pay again to use them? And that's the sentiment that I saw online. And so CARTA is working hard at explaining how and why they're going to add the additional lane, how it's going to make it quicker for everybody, and also incorporate equity into the conversation. So I know today's like the first presentation, and now when I travel anywhere, I notice everything. I went to the Bay Area like last weekend, and I noticed Fairfield also has toll lanes. And honestly, it was really confusing for me. No one was using it. Everybody else was on the other 4 lanes, and I saw the billboards and the pricing, and it was super confusing for me. So as we navigate this, it's front, mind, and center of what the average driver will feel like when they step onto the freeway. So something that I just keep front, mind, and center. So I just want to give you guys an update.
Thank you. Director Dickinson.
Thanks. There we go. Thanks. I just had a couple of questions, Kevin. This is specifically for the segment from the I-5 US 50 interchange to the US 80 interchange. Is that right? Essentially through downtown across the river to the interchange with 80. Is that right?
Yeah, so the expenditure plan, in our expenditure plan, we have essentially I-5 from the limits you just said, right, from US 50 to I-80. Obviously, that expenditure plan is from 2004, and a lot of things have changed. And so we're providing funding for a project that's a little bit longer, obviously, because it goes to the airport. But the idea here is that, obviously, we're paying our portion of that cost, and that the grant funds will essentially cover the larger overall project.
So the grants being sought would cover the entirety of what we have as what was designated as the carpool network some years ago to go to implement that completely where we don't have carpools, such as in the section I just described, and convert existing carpool lanes to hot lanes?
No, there's only additional. It's an additional lane only. So we're adding a new high occupancy toll lane on I-5 from downtown to the airport. I think you're pointing out that the expenditure plan is a smaller segment. It only goes from downtown to 80.
So this grant application would run from US 50 I-5 interchange to Sacramento International Airport and cover that segment. I see.
Correct.
Okay. And then for the segment that is US 50 I-5 to the Sacramento River, does this contemplate adding a lane? I assume it does, given your description. And is that able to be accomplished within the existing right-of-way?
Sorry, what were the limits one more time that you were?
Just from US 50 I-5.
Yes.
To the to the American River.
Essentially, yes. It's obviously I think you're pointing out that there's a pretty tight right-of-way in there, right? So I believe that Caltrans will be converting an existing aux lane over to sort of make better use of that facility to add that managed lane in there. But you're right that it's tight in there, but we're able to figure it out.
Okay. Well, I'm also thinking about the fact that there's a lot of interest in covering the I-5. In fact, as I think most, if not all, of the members know, there's been federal money allocated through Congresswoman Matsui to study covering that in the vicinity of the Crocker. So that's why I'm curious whether this would require more right-of-way, and if there's been coordination with that, regardless of the answer to that question, whether there's been coordination with the proposed or impending study to look at covering I-5.
Yeah, just confirmed that I think you're talking about, they call it the boat section, I believe.
Yes, it is over the boat section.
Over the boat section. So this project is staying within the existing boat section. Yeah,
right away.
We're not touching those walls, right? And then your further question, which is like, has there been any discussion about specifically that aspect of the project, and it potentially being part of this project?
No. I just wanted to make sure that these two don't proceed without coordination between them. Not that this should fund that. I
think that would be great to have direction on. Yeah, just to make sure that I think that we're doing that. But just if you're asking us, make sure those two projects are being coordinated. I'm happy to. I think that's a great addition to a motion. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it needs to be in the motion, but maybe it can just be a direction that we give to make sure that there's coordination. And then the last thing, I wanted to confirm that where there are, say, from I-5. South of the US 50 interchange, where we have carpool lanes now, that notwithstanding the staff report saying this would add a lane, not take a mixed-use lane, where we have a carpool lane, the idea would be just to convert that to a hot lane, the carpool lane. I mean, we're not going to add another lane and a carpool lane and a hot lane, right?
Yeah, I agree, but I think the level of detail you're getting into is I'm going to have to call up Mr. Greg from Caltrans, and hopefully he can answer that for us. If not, his staff will help answer that.
Hello. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, Greg Wong. I'm from Caltrans District 3. I am not the PM, but in this, what you're saying south of downtown, no, we're not going to add any more lanes.
Yeah, you're just gonna,
You'll have to convert the HOV lane.
That's what I assumed, but I wanted to make sure because that's not
Unless
exactly.
you can find me a lot of money and the policies change, I'd be happy to.
I can't. I can't, Greg. You have to convert it. Okay. All right. Thank you. That answers the question. All right. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Director Spees.
Thank you. Easy thing. So I completely appreciate the comments relative to equity. I think if we were taking away lanes, I would certainly have concerns relative to taking away what the public is paid for, right? That makes sense. I've seen this work really well in Utah. In fact, Utah all down the I-15 corridor it's fantastic having that extra lane. So my only question that I have is relative to the tolls that are collected. How is that? What are those tolls used for? Is it only for the lane, or is there extra that's used for, I don't know, cats in the field? I don't know.
Yeah, so there's some very specific restrictions on the use of toll revenues. So obviously you can use it to actually fund the tolling operations cost, correct? But if there's any excess revenue, those revenues have to return to the corridor. So, and the approach varies, but you have a little bit of flexibility there. So like an example might be, I'll give you like 3 examples. If there was you want to increase transit frequency on a facility on that corridor specifically, you could fund that. If you wanted to fund in some sort of like aux lane, sort of like, or a ramp modification to improve congestion further, you could fund that. If you wanted to fund potentially even like an active transportation project that's in that corridor somehow, I don't know if that's a piece of the American River Parkway or something that's like underneath one of those interchanges, you could fund that. We don't anticipate there to be a lot of actual revenue beyond what's needed to operate the facility, though. But there are rules that the funding has to stay, within the corridor. Okay. Though the decision on the funding would be would be a CARTA decision. I will say that was part of when the formation of CARTA, we sort of push them to modify their agreement so to ensure that revenues that are generated in Sacramento County, our CARTA board members have to, at a majority of our CARTA board members that are appointed from Sacramento County have to approve that. So there's a little bit of a local control there to ensure that their funds are being spent in agreement with what our electeds want to do. Hopefully that helps, Kevin.
And so then the lane itself is only paid for by toll funds entirely, right? I'm kind of picking at the equity issue. Is it completely funded by the toll?
The toll operation, the toll lane has to fund itself from an operational standpoint, and but from a capital standpoint, meaning the project construction, we're using Measure A and grants to fund it. Once it's funded, it should be sustained wholly by toll funding alone. So essentially to operate it, and there's some maintenance component to that as well.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Director Bulahan.
I expect that folks are going to try to avoid these toll lanes by using highways 12 and 160. And for like some folks in the Bay, they might want to be extreme and try to use Highway 4 to go through Stockton. That's the comment. I just want to comment on that. You have to anticipate that.
All right. Do we have any comments from the public?
No, we do not.
All right.
I'll move the item.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Okay, and I'll be taking a voice vote. Directors Bulahan?
Aye.
Dickinson?
Aye.
Guerra?
Aye.
Vice Chair Hume?
Abstain.
Kennedy?
Aye.
Maple?
Abstain.
Middleton?
Aye.
Rodriguez?
Aye.
Cerna?
Aye.
Spees?
Aye.
Talamontes,
Aye.
and Chair Rathel.
Aye.
And the motion passes with members Hume and Maple recording abstentions.
Thank you. Please call the next item.
Item number 11 is the Executive Director's Report.
All right, wonderful. I just have a couple of items here I want to flag. We're doing, begun a series of community listening sessions to gather input on transportation priorities throughout Sacramento County. These are really part of STA's broader public outreach and education efforts that were authorized by the governing board. Essentially, we're doing community listening sessions. We've done one in Arden Arcade already. We're sort of learning from each of those sort of presentations and refining our messaging. We have 2 more planned in sort of Folsom and Rancho Cordova. We're trying to spread those out throughout the county. We just don't have enough budget to do one in every single city at this point. And then we do have one virtual presentation that we do plan to do as well. So we'll be putting out information on those on our social media channels. I think what this comes down to is really trying to educate voters about the challenges we have with transportation funding, and so they understand, everything that we're going through as far as declining gas tax revenues and construction costs really being high. And hopefully we get a little bit of input, right, as a listening session, in the fact that I think it's important that we hear from, the community before we take any sort of future policy action, right? And we continue to consider, a sales tax measure potentially in 2028. But right now, this is more about listening and understanding what the interests are, what the concerns are, maybe what the priorities are. But I think these are actually really helpful meetings in getting in better refining our own messaging. And we're being assisted by Lucas Public Affairs on that, and they've been really good. Just so everyone knows. One other sort of, I would say, fairly big effort that's kind of happening behind the scenes here at SDA is, the Senate Bill 1 has several competitive funding programs that are going to be due in November. And so SACOG has been asking applications to be submitted through them for prioritization. SCA is, been working with a variety of agencies trying to collect those applications and compile them together. And so we have actually prepared and submitted applications on behalf of all these agencies. One of those is the US 50 Multimodal Corridor Connections Project. Would be a potential grant for Solutions for Congested Corridors program. The total grant amount is about $86.375 million. And so, SB1, it happens every 2 years. Our region typically gets somewhere in the $100 to $150 million total. We want to make sure we're getting our fair share of those funds. This is an opportunity for us to do that and provide some leadership, provide some coordination, put that application together. I think it's really important that we do this consistently. We've also been partnering with Placer Sacramento on the Placer Sacramento Gateway with PCTPA. They have been leading that effort, but with our support, they have submitted a similar application for $115 million. And then finally, this same project we just talked about has submitted under the Trade Corridor Enhancement Program. So the I-5 project is submitted for $20 million. And it's created there's been a lot of coordination to really make this happen. I will flag that item 6 on our agenda today, which was approved, which I appreciate, has a lot more detail. If you want to see specifically the projects that were included in that. But what we've been trying to do is to the extent we can, we've tried to, like on US 50 as an example, we brought together all the cities, the county, SAC-RT. What are your projects that are ready to go? Let's compile those together on US 50 and put a compelling application together. And so I think we're lucky in that we have a really good balance of projects along 50, but within all those jurisdictions. And I think it will be a fairly competitive project. So I'm really hopeful for that to happen. With that, I'm open to any questions.
Any questions? All right. We have no comments from the public.
No comments.
All right, and that takes us to our last item, the reports out from the authority members. Director Talamontes, anything on CARTA?
No.
All right, anything from our other two subcommittees?
No report.
All right, Director Hume? Nope. All right. With that, we are adjourned at 2:24. Have a great day, everybody.
You were right, Phil.